And if you're one of those people who believes this area can't support another theater, you might want to take a look at the newest theatrical company in town. Nancy Solomon did just that.
Coconut Grove's historic landmark has been sitting on this corner of Main Highway for over 50 years. The Grove Theater has seen movies, productions, and producers come and go. Its current tenant, the Players State Theater, is hopefully here to stay. It was just last year when a local theater group rescued the Playhouse from a wrecker's ball. It would have become a parking lot because production companies were moving out. Enough revenue couldn't be made. The Players Repertory Theater scrounged up enough money for down payment, merged with the Players State Theater, checked out of its existing home at the Museum of Science, and into the million-dollar structure. The new Players has only a handful of original repertory members, and although Miamians are used in its productions, actors from other cities and other countries are flown in, like Englishman Dennis Cregan.
Well, I like acting here at the Grove because this is an incredibly famous old playhouse. You know, in fact, when Dana Andrews was just here, he was just in town, and he called over here. He wanted to come over and walk through because this was one of the first playhouses he ever worked in down here. So this has an incredible history. So it's when you say you've been down here, you know, everybody knows of it. It's not that you're in Podunk or something. Everybody's familiar with it.
There are guest directors, such as Michael Montel, who staged productions in New York, Washington, Chicago, and Los Angeles. Executive director Bob Cantor has spent the last 20 years acting, directing, writing, and producing.
I think that the thing that will offer us our chance is our ability to keep the product on stage excellent, which we've been able to do 4 times in a row. We have received unanimous, critical, rave reviews, really. But that's where it all depends, right out there with actors on a stage performing for a public. Because the longer we can keep that level where we've managed to place it, eventually we're going to score. We'll have a major breakthrough, and then our audience is going to be there.
The first season productions Cantor is so pleased with oftentimes played to a half-full house. They included Cyrano de Bergerac, Violano Virtuoso, Othello, and Streamers. Actors are now squeezing in time for rehearsals of the current play, the British farce Absurd Person Singular.
I've never had quite such a small gin in my life, completely drowned.
My stuff is pretty strong.
That's only because she missed the glass with the soda water. Consider yourself lucky.
What I'd like to see is a steadily continuing subscription build. We have 3,000 now. I would like to see 6,000 for next October. I would like to then see 8,000 for the year after, bringing us to 10,000 at the end of maybe the 4th year. Because I think that is what will give this theater a viability that it needs.
I could let you have a pair of my trousers from upstairs just while yours dry.
Yes, well, I think I'll stick with these. Hate to break up the suit, eh?
All right, darling.
Yes, yes.
Ah, isn't this gorgeous? Isn't this enchanting?
Oh, what a simply dishy kitchen. Aren't you lucky?
Well,
it's so beautifully arranged. Don't you agree, Ronnie? Isn't this splendid?
Ah.
Just look at these working surfaces, and you must have a gorgeous view from that window, I imagine.
Well,
To be boring in the theater is the worst thing that anybody can do. Thank God we have not been boring, nor will we ever be, hopefully, on that stage.
While the Players State Theater rehearses downstairs, upstairs the Players State Conservatory is training potential actors. The Players State Conservatory Theater has what they call educational outreach components, and that's really a fancy name for classes like this. Students know their mime teacher demands concentration, flexibility, and imagination. Israeli-born Yakovnoy demonstrates these qualities, cautiously picking up an imaginary ball.
The step is important. The look is important. The going down is important. They're holding it and picking up, and the look.
Now that Players is firmly ensconced in the Coconut Grove Playhouse, they need a firm establishment that can definitely train actors for what they need in both the film industry and theater. body movement or mime, which was taught this past time by Yakov Noy, a vocal production class, Elizabethan acting styles, so an actor is prepared for anything that may come his way or her way. We opened the conservatory in December, and we just jumped in with both feet. Phil Giberson, the executive director, was formerly head of the drama department at FIU and is now in charge of the conservatory. And he just opened the doors, and we've had, the phones have been ringing off the hook.
Although the conservatory receives no funding, student fees are relatively inexpensive, $65 for a 9-week session. The theater receives 9% of its operating budget from the state of Florida, as does the other Players State Theater in Sarasota. Each production at the Grove Playhouse costs between $45,000 and $65,000. A large and steady audience is the key to its survival. Cantor says he's fully aware there's a fierce competition for the entertainment dollar.
We've got to run as fast as the dogs. Our pelota has to hit that wall and crack back at 110 miles an hour. We are in heavy competition for that entertainment dollar. So all the more reason why that product has to be superlative. And there can be no letdown from the moment we open up that season, as we did with Cyrano, December the 30th, which was a miracle in itself. We've got to make sure that everything we do tops the thing that came before.
Cantor refuses to think about failure. It doesn't bother him that other groups at the Grove Playhouse took financial beatings. He says the quality of the Players State Theater productions should eliminate any disaster.
We have a great challenge ahead of us, and it's important for people to join with us in that challenge, because we're really for the people here. This is a community venture.
It's been an encouraging first season for the Players State Theater. Sales were better than expected, and so were audience reactions. But the question now remains, will South Floridians continue to support the theater, keeping it in the red and in this playhouse?